Now this is how you do a sequel. Today we're looking at Halloween 2. Let's get spooky. Greetings everyone, my name is Nightshade, this is The Night Shift, a home for all things spooky, and today we're looking at Halloween 2, released in 1981. And this is one of my all-time favorite sequels in the Halloween franchise ever. And this movie kind of lost favor after the release of Halloween 2018, the H40 sequel, the Legacy sequel, and I don't understand why. This is hands down one of the best sequels in the entire franchise. Michael Myers looks badass, and it starts off directly where the last film left off, and you know, it's a great film. Then again, you know, a lot of the hate that I see for this movie comes from Reddit, and Redditors just hate everything. So I'm ready to go ahead and get into this review, but before we do, I want to let you know how I do my reviews. I don't make video essays and go beat for beat with the story, giving my criticisms along the way. Instead, I would recommend that you watch this film for yourself, that way you can get your own informed opinion, and then come back here and check out the video, and we can geek out about our favorite horror movies in the comments below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down into two separate groups, the positives and the negatives, and then after we get through that list, I will give you my final score and we will end the video, alright? But we always start off on the bright side with... And much like Tuesday's review, our very first positives on the list is going to be... Now this movie begins directly after the happenings of the first film, and I think that is phenomenal. Like, there is zero exposition as to what happened in the first film, and I, for one, appreciate that. If you're going into a movie theater to watch a film called Halloween 2, that implies that there is a first one, and if you didn't watch that one, tough shit, that's on you. And I honestly wish more movies did sequels like this. And with the time that you save not recapping the previous film, you actually have a lot more opportunity to build a better story in your current sequel, and I wish more sequels would be like Halloween 2. So the opening of this film is literally like the last 2 minutes of the first film, and then we're directly into the story of Halloween 2. So like, I love that. I think more movies should do that, especially in sequels. It's just, you know, it's just better for the audience, especially the ones that, you know, are dedicated to watching all of these films in theaters. Like, I think it would be extremely beneficial to just, you know, if you didn't watch it, you didn't watch it. That's on you. If you don't know what's going on, that's your fault. Sorry. Halloween 2 don't give a shit. So up next on my list of positives is... Michael motherfucking Myers is a absolute beast in this film. Now in this film, he's portrayed by a completely different actor. The first film was Nick Castle. In this one, we have the wiener wizard himself, Dick Warlock. I'm leaving it in, fuck it, I don't care. Now, I truly love Dick Warlock's portrayal as The Shape. He is one of my all-time favorite Michael Myers actors. In this film, he just looks more menacing. He looks more evil. Now, I've heard complaints about his portrayal as The Shape as being too robotic, and honestly, the only time that I could see him being even remotely robotic is, you know, whenever he's coming down the stairs. And, you know, the way he walks, he kind of does have a glide about him, so I mean, that kind of negates the robotic nature that people often have a complaint about with this Michael Myers. But, you know, people's tastes are different, and if you don't like Dick Warlock as Michael Myers, I'm not here to convince you otherwise, but he's one of my all-time favorites. He's probably in my top 3 for sure. And whenever we get done with all of the movies, I'll rank the masks and I'll rank the Michael Myers actors as well. And we'll see exactly where Dick Warlock fits on my list then. But, you know, as of right now, he is one of my all-time favorite Michael Myers portrayers, especially, you know, just how cold. He feels very cold in this film, very much. He feels even more emotionless than, you know, Nick Castle at times. And, you know, we can't talk about Michael Myers without talking about our next positives on this list, which is going to be... So I didn't talk about this with the last video, but the reason I'm separating Michael Myers and The Mask is because, you know, we've had great looking masks on terrible Michael Myers and vice versa. So I'm judging Michael Myers and The Mask completely separate. Now on to talking about The Mask in Halloween 2. I fucking love this mask. It is definitely one of my favorites in the entire franchise. And yeah, for sure, it is one of the same masks that was used in Halloween 1. But Nightshade, there was only one mask used in Halloween 1. And these set photos will tell you otherwise. And it is a lot dirtier and a lot filthier looking, and it just looks beautiful. Now there's a lot of different rumors surrounding why the mask looks the way it looks. Like, some people speculate that it was stored in a shoebox underneath Deborah Hill's bed, and she was a heavy smoker, and all of the cigarette smoke changed the way the mask looks. And there's other rumors that it was stored above a fireplace, and the smoke from the fireplace changed the color of it. In all honesty, we may never know what is the real reason that the mask looks the way it looks, but you know, the one thing can be said for sure: this mask is amazing. I like old beat up masks. They are my favorite. Like some of my favorite masks from like Slipknot. My favorite versions of the masks are the ones that are old, beat up, and rotting. And it's gonna go the same for this instance here. I love that this is a very weathered version of one of the original masks used in the original Halloween. It just looks meaner, especially with Dick Warlock wearing it, because he's got a wider head than Nick Castle did. And the stretch of the mask almost gives it an angry, furrowed brow look. Like, it looks pissed off. And I love it. And I could talk about how much I love this mask ad nauseum, but you know, time being what it is, we have to move on to the next positive, which is... Now, the kills in this one aren't as muted or as subtle as they were in the first one. Since the release of the first Halloween, there was a lot of copycats that did do more blood, more gore than Halloween did. So it wouldn't really make sense for them to take the same approach on this film, because other films that were inspired by Halloween really ramped up the blood and gore on their end. The Halloween 2 definitely ramps up the blood and the gore in this film, and you know, I appreciate it for what it is. And you know, by today's standards, even these kills are kind of muted. Like, whenever you compare them to modern day horror and modern day effects, these are still, you know, you could probably get away with a lot of them on TV nowadays, but you know, back in those days, it was something to behold. And back when I was a kid and watched this film by myself, I appreciated the blood and the gore in this film, and yeah, so good kills are always going to get positives on my list. So up next for my final positive on this list, and that's going to be... So Dr. Lumis is absolutely unhinged in this film, and he starts getting a little crazier and crazier, and he does throughout the rest of the franchise, but he ends up being more of the main character in this film, more so than he was in the previous film. Like, when we're not following Michael Myers, we're pretty much following Dr. Lumis, and then every once in a while we get a Laurie Strode cameo in this film. But yeah, this is more or less a Dr. Loomis film, more so than it is a Laurie Strode film. But yeah, Dr. Loomis ends up going a little bit batshit in this, and then channeling his main character energy, as it were.
What is it you fellas usually do? Fire a warning shot, right?
And you know, Donald Pleasance is an absolute staple in the Halloween franchise, and you know, I just love the guy to death. Alright, so that's gonna do it for my positives. Now we move on to... And the first negative is going to have to be... Now, Laurie was a big part of the first Halloween, but you know, she's pretty much sidelined and sedated throughout this film. Like, she'll come to for a brief moment whenever we need some exposition, but then she goes right back to sleep. Like, to me, she doesn't feel like the main character until the end, and even then she doesn't feel much like the main character in this film. Like I said in the positives list, that's going to have to go to Dr. Loomis, and it feels like he kind of completes the hero's journey at the end of Halloween 2, even though he doesn't actually die, neither does Michael. But yeah, our main character in the first is not the main character in the second, and yeah, so Laurie Strode, the way that they used her in this film is going to be on my negatives list. And speaking of Laurie Strode, let's go ahead and get into the next negative, which is... Now, I'm not going to say that I didn't like the sister angle. You know, whenever I first started watching these films, I just took it and was like, all right, Michael Myers kills family members. That's what he does. Honestly, for me, it sort of dawned on me that I didn't like the family aspect. It didn't hit me until I came out of the theater from watching Rob Zombie's first Halloween film. We go through the motions with Michael throughout the entire film, and I just feel like him being attached to his sister kind of held him back from being the emotionless husk that he should be and that he was in the first film. Like, Michael Myers should definitely remain a question mark. It should have no reason, and everybody that wants to find out why gets no answer because there is no answer. However, when the answer to that question is because he wants to kill a family member, it makes him a lot less scary. So, whenever I first watched this when I was a kid, it made sense to me that he was trying to kill his sister, but, up until about Rob Zombie's Halloween is when I realized that aspect actually is holding Michael Myers back. But, I mean, we got it with Halloween 2018 and the rest of the Legacy sequel, including Halloween Ends. But, the whole familial murdering rampage started with this film, and it has continued throughout. And my biggest gripe with the whole sister thing is, if you cut the scene out where she tells Dr. Lumis that, Michael Myers is, Laurie Strode's brother, it has zero effect on the film. Like, I made a cut of this film where that scene was taken out, and you know what changes? Absolutely nothing. John Carpenter has since gone on record saying that was a bad idea, and, now I agree with him, but, whenever I was first watching these films, I liked it, I didn't mind it, but now, as an adult, with changing tastes, I think the family aspect really, kind of ruins Michael Myers as a character. And that's it for my negatives list. Again, it's not a whole lot of negatives, and the negatives that are in this film are small, tiny, little, gripey, little annoying negatives, but they're not, deal breakers by any stretch of the imagination. And even with those negatives in place, I'm going to give this film a solid 10 out of 10. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite sequels in the franchise, if not my favorite sequel of the entire, Halloween lineup. I pretty much do it as a double feature, and Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 are the same movie in my opinion. And I just love it. It is one of my all-time favorite sequels, if not my favorite sequel of the franchise. So Halloween 2, 10 out of 10. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this film. Do you love it? Are you one of the people that fell out of love with it whenever Halloween 2018 came out, or the rest of the Legacy sequels? Sound off in the comments below. I look forward to reading them. So that's just gonna about do it for me. If you like the video, let me know by leaving me a like. Comment down below what you want to see on the channel next. I will do my best to accommodate, and until next time, my name is Nightshade. This has been The Night Shift, and I will see you in the next video. Stay spooky, my friends. I'm definitely going to try to rehaul a mask to look like the H2 mask. That is definitely really high on my list of favorite masks in the franchise. I don't know if that it would be number one, but it's up there in the top 3 for sure. And if you're still watching, you go ahead and comment Spooky Squad in the comments below. That way I know which of you are the real ones. All right, I got a mask to try to finish rehauling tonight, and I don't think that's going to happen, so, we'll release that video whenever it comes out. But, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay spooky, my friends.